Frieren Beyond Journeysend looks absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the most aesthetically pleasing shows in recent memory. It's clear that the staff is bringing their A game and then some. Now, realistically, it's impossible to go through and break down every single impressive cut of animation. We'd be here for days if I tried to. Instead, let's try to understand how and why this show looks as good as it does. Make sure to subscribe. A Frieren anime was pretty much inevitable. The very first chapter grabbed the attention of Toho animation producer Shoichiro Taguchi, who created a pitch for an anime adaptation. Now, I've said this time and time again, time and talent are the two deciding factors as far as anime productions go, and Frieren has an abundance of one and a respectable amount of the other. The schedule was healthy as far as the modern anime industry goes, especially because an unhealthy production involves a show undergoing multiple delays and people getting hospitalized. The production, however, probably wasn't as lenient as you think. As some of you may know, series director Keiichiro Saito also directed Bocchi the Rock, which aired a year before Frieren. Now, of course, that doesn't mean Frieren entered production after Bocchi wrapped up, but it definitely played a role. The production phase can be traced back to 2022. That's not all that leisurely for an ambitious 28-episode show. So then, why does Frieren look so good? How can it pull through with fights like this? And why does it look so consistent? Well, there are a bunch of factors, and we'll go through them all while unpacking the visual appeal of the show itself. Animation producers Yuichiro Fukushi and Takashi Nakame assembled the all-star Frieren team. Fukushi is a major name in the industry, and he has led the A-team at Madhouse for nearly a decade now. He produced so many impressive titles, including the first season of One Punch Man, Boogie Pop, Sunny Boy, and the Madhouse half of Tactop Destiny. He is an important part of Frieren, and without him, many members of the aforementioned all-star team wouldn't participate. Nakame's contribution was brought to my attention by Kevin's Sakuga blog article. He has theatrical experience and he brought a few of his peers on board. Series director Keiichiro Saito was brought on board by Fukushi. Saito has worked on other projects produced by him in the past. Collectively, these people assembled an incredible staff list. Again, staff members matter a lot. A strong lineup is the reason why a horrendous production like Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 could pull through with so many impressive episodes. Once the star-studded team was assembled, the production began. In a clever move, director Saito decided to entrust certain aspects of the show to other people, which helped make up for the time he allotted to Bocchi and his self-proclaimed lack of ability in the action department. One of those people was Seiko Yoshioka, who was credited as a concept artist, layout designer, and world illustrator. As you might notice, these titles are quite unorthodox. In reality, Yoshioka practically crafted the entire world, imagining not just what's on screen, but what's behind it as well. The world itself is spectacular. It's one of the best things about this show. They tell a story through the visuals, and we can thank Yoshioka's meticulous work for that. She drew these sample layouts / concept art / color scripts for this show. These were used as reference by the background team and any other relevant departments. A ton of thought went into every aspect. For example, instead of simply drawing that circular fantasy city, she carefully planned out the layout, going as far as to make a 3D model for the same. Yoshioka even took into account the materials these fictional people used to build their homes and their religious beliefs. She even made sure the debris washing up on shore was accurate. Effort like this is rare and requires a ton of talent. The passage of time is one of the most important narrative devices in Frieren, and the staff elaborate on this aspect excellently. This visual world building provided a strong base, which the rest of the show used as a foundation. Director Saito seems to believe that action isn't his strong suit, and therefore he entrusted the role of action director to Toru Iwasawa. Action isn't that high up on the list of things that make this show great, but that's no reason to not go all out. While we did get a few stray cuts of competently animated action here and there, episode 6 marked the first proper fight. The episode was directed and storyboarded by Toru Iwasawa, and they brought on board some of the greatest action animators of all time for a fight that barely lasted a minute. They animated a 2D dragon like it was nothing, although given the names involved, it probably was nothing. Animators like Keiichiro Watanabe and Shingo Yamashita started things off, followed by a long sequence animated by NBM, which firmly established the size difference between the two entities. Chainsaw Man action director Tatsuya Yoshihara followed up with a short sequence featuring some beautiful character drawings and some background animation for good measure. Next up was Yutaka Nakamura, one of the greatest animators ever. He animated the 2D dragon alongside the 4-toned background. Do you understand how ridiculous that is? This isn't the first time Nakamura has worked on a show produced by Fukushi, which shows us how big his phone book is. The fight ended with Hironori Tanaka's animation. The smooth effects and explosion looked incredible. Episode 6 was an anomaly, but in general the action looked amazing. The 9th episode, directed and storyboarded by Koki Fujimoto, was another highlight, featuring that signature, smooth, and weight-filled character and fabric animation, most of which was animated by Fujimoto himself, and some intricately storyboarded action which featured tons of background animation, most of which was animated by Fujimoto himself. The action, despite being unimportant, looks fantastic. Iwasawa has done a lot of work so far, especially because his role as action director means he did a lot more than what the credits give him credit for. The role of a director includes a lot of corrections and checks which often go uncredited. Keiichiro Saito's team split up the tasks efficiently. Episode 7, for example, was led by Keisuke Kojima and his team, effectively turning it into an outsourced episode. This Kojima-Saito partnership isn't new whatsoever. They have outsourced episodes to each other before on multiple occasions. By assigning certain aspects of the show to people like Seiko Yoshioka, Toru Iwasawa, and Keisuke Kojima, Saito managed to create a smooth workflow, which helped the show keep up with the ambition. These aspects, coupled with the beautiful art direction, copious amounts of character animation, and incredible direction and storyboards, made for an amazing viewing experience. Early on, the partial implementation of a technique known as film scoring enhanced the audiovisual harmony. Again, I can't go over every single good-looking cut. There are simply too many. It's an all-star lineup featuring names such as Ko Yoshinari, Takahito Sakazume, Toshiyuki Sato, Hironori Tanaka, Toshiyuki Sato, Norifumi Kugai, Toshiyuki Sato, and Toshiyuki Sato. Oh, and also Toshiyuki Sato. Sato has a history with both producer Fukushi and director Saito, so no surprises there. Every episode is filled with life and animation. It's surreal. Mayon's dance sequence, for example, is a jaw-dropping display of consistently well-animated movement and intricate fabric animation. Mind-blowing stuff. Yes, this cut fell apart. The comp and the scene structure looks janky and stiff, but realistically, who cares? Look at, everything else. Frieren is a perfect example of sensible staff allocation and a relatively good schedule. It's what happens when you assemble some of the most talented people in the industry. We still have a few more episodes to go. I'm excited to see what the team comes up with. That's about it. Did you like this video? Check out this other bit of content on screen if you did. Make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time.